Hey everyone, and welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Today we're going to be talking about gold,
That's right.
and specifically what you do after you find it.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about how to find gold.
Right.
Not today.
How to use your metal detector,
Exactly.
all that other stuff.
We're talking about selling it.
Yeah. What do you do?
You found the gold.
You've got this gold nugget.
What do you do with it?
Yeah.
We're assuming you're not just going to keep it, which would be totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, some people just want to find it.
And you keep it. A lot of people want to sell it.
Right.
And so we're going to talk about
Especially if you're
the best places to do that.
if you're like a beginner,
Yeah.
and you just found your first little nugget.
Especially.
Like, where do you even start?
Yeah, that can be a really confusing thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of options and it's not always clear what the best one is.
Right. A pawn shop or a
Yeah.
local
Sure.
precious metals buyer.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably going to be the first thing that pops into a lot of people's heads.
Right, like I found gold.
Especially if you're a beginner
Where do I sell it?
and you don't know anything about this world.
Pawn shop.
You're going to think pawn shop or maybe a jeweler
Right.
or, somebody like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the good thing about those is that they're accessible. They're easy. You can usually get cash pretty quickly.
Yep. Cash on the spot.
The downside is that you're probably not going to get the best price.
Right. And that's because they're not necessarily
Right.
experts in gold.
Yeah, they might buy gold,
Right.
but it's not their main business.
They're not a refinery. Right.
So they're not going to be able to give you the most accurate.
They're going to give you what they can give you to still make a profit.
Exactly. They're going to have to lowball you,
Win a little bit
turn around and sell it.
to make it worth their while.
So then what is a better option
So if
if I want to wait a little bit?
if you're looking to maximize your profit,
Yeah.
and you're not in a desperate rush,
Yeah.
then I would say a refinery is probably the best option.
Okay. Refining.
So a refinery is a place that specifically buys gold
Okay.
to melt it down and purify it.
Gotcha.
And they will usually give you a price that's very close to the spot price of gold, which is the market value of gold at that moment.
So the refinery
So they're the ones who are going to give you
is going to give you the best price
the most accurate and fair price.
for your gold.
So what's the catch?
The catch with refineries is that it can take a little bit longer
Okay,
to get your money.
makes sense.
Because they have to process the gold.
Yeah,
They have to assay it.
Mhm.
They have to do all their things with it.
right.
But if you're not in a hurry,
Yeah.
right?
Now you mentioned online platforms.
Mhm.
Is that a good option?
Online platforms can be a good option. They're kind of like a Wild West out there.
Okay.
There's a lot of different platforms. There's a lot of different buyers,
Yeah.
and it can be really hard to know who to trust.
Yeah. So how do I not get scammed?
The best thing to do is to do your research.
Okay.
Look for platforms that have a good reputation.
How would I even know?
Read reviews
Okay.
from other sellers. And look for things like
Okay.
secure payment systems and escrow services.
Okay. So I'm not sending my gold nugget to somebody
Right.
and then never hearing from them again.
Exactly. You want to make sure that you're protected.
Okay.
But if you do your research
Yeah.
and you find a reputable platform,
Yeah.
you can actually get a really good price for your gold online because
Yeah.
you're reaching a wider audience.
It's like an auction almost.
It can be like an auction.
Okay.
You can list your gold
Yeah.
and have people bid on it,
And then you can see
and you can choose the best offer.
if it's legit.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Now what if I have like
Now, if you have
a really special nugget?
a really special nugget,
Like I found something
like if you found something
really big?
really big or really unique,
Yeah.
or historically significant,
Yeah.
that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay. So then how do I sell that?
So in those cases, you might want to consider going to an auction house. Okay.
An auction house that specializes in
Sotheby's.
yeah, like Sotheby's or heritage auctions.
Okay.
They have a network of collectors
Mm-hmm.
who are always looking for
Right.
rare and unique items,
And they're willing to pay a premium
and they're willing to pay a premium
for something special.
for something special.
Okay.
So if you have a nugget that's particularly large or has some interesting features,
Yeah.
or if you found it in a historically significant,
Yeah.
that could be worth a lot more
Okay.
than just its melt value.
So how do I know if my nugget is special?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few things you can look for.
Okay.
Size is obviously a big one.
Okay.
The bigger the nugget, the rarer it is.
Makes sense.
Shape can also be important.
Okay.
You know, if it has a really unique or interesting shape, that could make it more desirable to collectors.
Okay.
And then purity is also a factor.
Okay.
The higher the purity of the gold, the more valuable it is.
Okay.
But ultimately, the best way to know if you have a special nugget is to get it appraised by an expert.
Okay, so take it to a place.
Yeah.
Like a
Take it to a reputable appraiser.
Refinery or.
Who specializes in gold.
Gotcha.
And they can tell you what you got.
What if you walk into a pawn shop?
Yeah.
They're probably not going to know.
They're not going to know
what they're looking at.
Okay.
They might just give you a melt value.
Gotcha.
For it.
Okay, so be careful.
Yeah, be careful who you sell to.
Yeah.
Do your research and make sure you're getting a fair price.
Don't just jump at the first.
Don't just take the first offer
that you get.
Yeah, shop around. Question.
Well, thank you so much for all of that.
Yeah, of course.
Insight. That was really helpful.
I hope it was.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of people.
And for all of you out there,
you can realize.
If you're listening.
How many options there are.
And you're out there with your metal detectors.
Yeah.
I hope you find some gold.
I hope so too.
And when you do.
Good luck out there.
Remember this advice.
Yeah.
And until next time, happy hunting.
Happy hunting.